Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hammer Podcast. Today is October 13th, 2021, and I am speaking with Joshua. Joshua was at the Roloff Homes, and he's going to tell us all about his time there. He was there from roughly 86 to 98.
Yes.
And your parents worked there, correct?
They were pretty much missionaries.
Missionaries. Okay. So, Joshua, let's start it all. But I was there in 82, 82 to about 84. Okay,
Mhm.
like I said, I was there when Roloff died, the plane crash and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Wiley Cameron took over.
Yes.
Um, I'm not exactly sure who was heading over the Rebecca Homes. I don't know if it was Crummy or if
Papa,
it.
or Mr. Thorne and Mrs. Thorne, and then I believe after them it was Papa and Mrs. Weatherford.
Okay, okay. It's kind of hard to remember all that stuff.
Yeah. No. Hey, man, it's all I remember. Everything else is fake to me.
That's good.
What I do now, what I do now in reality,
Yeah,
it is there's no freedom involved in it. Nobody knows what freedom is unless you're really raised on something like that.
yeah.
No law, no phones, no doctors, no need for them because everybody was eating right. There was no health issues.
I
Hey, they
yeah,
were crackheads that were on the verge of overdosing. Do you know how dangerous that is?
yeah.
People die from that like that. Not one death. I'm talking about me as a 6-year-old kid watching them carry some girl or guy in that's foaming, ODing, and them nurse him back to health. And when I tell you without a BC powder, I mean without a BC powder, man. I watched it with my own eyes. I got the scars. I had to taste some of that. So I know what them people were dealing with.
Uh huh.
You're talking, if nothing else alone, drop all the spiritual everything, the sheer fact, the medical facts, what they were doing is just incredible. What they were using was food.
Well, sure.
Now, Lester Roloff was a Christian, devout. Naturally, he's going to add Christ, he's a Christian, to the dietary plan he used on rehabilitating drug addicts and alcoholics. 100% it worked. I'm telling
Well, sure. If you're using healthy
you.
foods, greens, live in the vegetarian. I mean, a lot of vegetarians don't have a lot of problems with cholesterol and that kind of stuff because they're eating raw foods.
Yes, sir.
Not the people that are eating hamburgers all the time or steaks and all that stuff.
I didn't even list it.
Yeah.
I didn't
So
even know what it was.
so what do you think it was, Joshua? Was it was it a combination of the foods that they were eating and, of course, their belief in Christ, or was it just the
Well,
food that was making them healthy?
I believe their faith in Christ is what helped them mentally. And I believe they're keeping the Old Testament law in the Bible helped them physically. To this day, sometimes I go on a 30-day vegan diet. My friend, I used to do it when I was on drugs and alcohol, and I've done it for really bad reasons. I'm not even going to say what for.
Right.
What I would go into a fast over or go vegan. I can't explain to you how strong a man gets by not eating. I can't explain it. You just got to do it. And Lester Roloff was proof of that. That's where I learned it. And like I said, man, I was using the physical part of those homes for my benefit, living a wicked, wicked life. I was still using the dietary law to benefit, to keep myself strong and okay looking, good looking and youthful. But I was pumping so much in my body, I was a machine. Because how I was raised, I literally didn't know when I left there. Let's call it going out into the world.
Sure.
That's what they call it. when I left there, I didn't even know what I was doing could get you thrown in jail at the time, because drugs in my mind was you had to have a needle and you stabbed it in your neck or in your eyeball. It was like some horrific thing they told me when I was little.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know, so when marijuana showed up, I didn't even know it was a drug. I didn't even know what was going on. Yeah. So, but I found out real quick, and let me tell you, here's what's weird. For me to move to Arkansas and not know one thing about how things work outside of the farm, being raised in a controlled environment, repetitious, routine, church, preaching 6 times a week. I've been to more church services than 60, 70-year-old men. And I've been to more of them by the time I was 14 than 70-year-old men that go on Sunday and Wednesday.
I do remember the schedule as far as church, Sunday morning, Sunday school, got the church service, Sunday evening, church service, and then we'd go to Wednesday church service.
Morning to an evening.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
yeah.
And that's the only time we ever went, my family. It was Sundays and Wednesdays.
Have you ever heard 800 people praying out loud?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, whether it's real or not, I don't have to get into all that. I'm giving you an honest story of what went on. I remember them pulling the altars up, where people go down to the altar and pray.
Right.
I remember them pulling them up and changing them ever so often because there was so many tears and it would rot the wood. And so many people was walking up and down and just, dude, some of the crazy, that was an old military base, don't you?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, that was.
I know Cabinets Fields over there somewhere.
Hey, I've been in underground bunkers that are half the size of this town I live in now. And I was about 10 years old and I was by myself. And I know where they're at to this day. Incredible stuff. I've been over every inch of that farm. I've got lost in cornfields 24 hours. Just incredible. You had the Gulf to your back, so there's just nothing.
Right.
I've burned fields down for far as you could see. Thousands of cows, burned them to a crisp. 10 years old, whatever I wanted to do. Yeah. There was so much freedom. It was incredible, man. It was incredible. If I found a building after walking for 3 or 4 hours off the back of that property out there, I'd just burn it down. I mean, there was no, what can I say? I was a bad child, but it was complete freedom. I was the only one doing stuff like that. My brothers and people were good kids. And I'm talking about a kid, man, 7, 8 years old, finding some matches, didn't even know the severity of what I'd done. Yeah. But no consequences for me. And when I got in the outside world, I did not realize you couldn't say certain words to certain ethnic groups. Oh. You couldn't you couldn't do things and get away with them. The police, there were laws.
Yeah.
Where I was raised, you had God's laws. That was it.
Yeah.
You had God's laws. And that's what they pounded. That was the only part that my dad kind of failed in. I had an awesome dad, but he was so stern on God's laws. I didn't know nothing about I had to learn all that the hard way.
It was there was definitely a little white supremacy going on over there.
I don't know about that. It kind of. I'll tell you why though. They had a lot of missionaries that helped Indians, African Americans, that still go on today. You can look it up. That's fun.
Yeah, the Regeneration Reservation. Yes.
That's funded by Lester Roloff's program 60, 70 years ago. So I'm being honest, and this may sound whatever, but they dealt with their own, because here's why. They were dealing with Christians in churches all over the country, and these churches were sending their troubled kids there. That's what was going on. My own brother ended up going in there. I ended up going, but I was too young. They moved me to the older classroom because I was too much for the younger kids. I was so far advanced in acting fool because of my brothers and what I was seeing coming in, because my family worked there. So I never left. You would have been my outside connection. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was learning prison walk at 5 years old. So when people come up to me and they're like, oh, I've been in prison 30 years, I'm not impressed. I'm like, first of all, you're an idiot. I've been doing that since I was 5, dealing with criminals and drug addicts and con artists. I've been doing that since I was 5, man.
Sometimes a lot of Lester Roloff's stories were a little hard to believe.
Tell me one.
He had said one time it was an anchor boy who burned down a house and
burned down Anchor.
Well, he burned down a house, and his mom and dad were in there and killed them both. And he said that the sheriff brought this kid to him and said, "Look, he doesn't need to be in jail."
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I think he does. But the sheriff says this kid doesn't need to be in jail. Just can you take him? Something like that. Serious felonies like that.
You would have to know, because I'm telling you right now, me as an 8-year-old boy walking miles and miles out of the back of there, going through people's property I don't even know. I was a kid, and I'd burn anything down I found. I'm trying to tell you, if somebody would have been in one of those houses, thank God they wasn't, an 8-year-old would have killed them all with a box of matches. Do you know I had that box of matches? Do you remember them big boxes?
Yes.
But they were long matches and sturdy, not these new ones that are
flimsy.
I kept that box safe, and every match in that box burned something down. I didn't waste one match. I'm trying to tell you, that's the kind of childhood I grew up in, a lawlessness. I had the school system was so hard on me, it drove me into the desert there in Texas when I got out of school. Because see, I had to go to the same school all the crackheads and the dope heads and the con artists and the murderers and the rapists and the child molesters that they were trying to help. I was in school with them.
Yeah.
I had to be in the same school they was in. So the school structure was so hard on me, it drove me into the woods as a child. And to this day, I mean, I'm caveman.
Yeah. Was this the lighthouse or the Anchor home you went to school at?
Okay. Anchor had kind of dissipated by the time it would have been Anchor because of my age. But they done away with Anchor. And they put 12-year-old to 18 to 21. That was the lighthouse. Or 12 to 18.
Okay.
I was 7, just turned 8, 10, and they moved me to Anchor, which they done away with Anchor. So I'm in the lighthouse with 18-year-olds at 10 and 11. Yeah.
Most of them who are criminals, basically.
It was already a bad start for me. But I was very spiritual. It's weird, man. I was a bad kid, but I really wasn't. I didn't steal. I just played. And there was never no authority when I was by myself. From the time I was 6 to teenager, there was no authority once I got out of school. That whole farm was mine. Everybody knew it. I'm telling you. You contact anybody that goes there and say my name. They'll say, that little boy walked millions of miles. Dude, I used to get thirsty and grab a cow and get milk right out of her titty, way out in the woods. No, I'm serious.
I believe it. Yeah.
Pull corn right off the stalk, peel it, eat baby corn. I'd pull carrots up out of the ground, eat them. I was in that farm. It was the greatest thing. It changed my life and everybody around me. The older I got, my family realized the impression that place made on me. Lester Roloff was my dad's hero, and my dad was my hero. So I just wanted to be like both of them.
Yeah. Lester Roloff was my dad's hero as well.
Wow. How do you feel about your dad? Are you close with your dad?
Yes, I am. He doesn't do the church thing, as far as I know, anymore.
Yeah.
But he was so close to Lester Roloff, he knew exactly what ice cream he ate. So, yeah, pralines and cream.
Yeah. From the country store. My mom ran that little
The
store.
country store, yes. When I was going to school there, before the bus would take us home, they'd drive us to the general store.
Mm-hmm.
25 cents, you can get yourself a bag full of licorice.
The old people on that place when I got there were ancient, and they had been there 100 years, and they're just like little bees buzzing and bouncing. It was incredible, dude.
Yeah.
And as soon as I move out, I start seeing 50-year-olds that are dead, dying. I knew as a child the power of the food from me starving and almost dying from thirst and doing the things that I'm telling you. That food was so powerful. And here's what's messed up. There is no more food like that. It's all sprayed. It's all organic. It's just mutated. The seeds don't even reproduce. They're sterile once they grow once. They're all hybrid.
Yeah.
Nothing's real anymore. There's no life cells in anything. And Lester Roloff knew that. And like I said, you could take the spiritual side, whatever. There was child molesters. There was everything you can think of down there, man. But guess what? They're also everywhere here where I'm at now. They arrest them every day. They're down at the bowling alley. They're at school. They're all in the public school system. Oh, yeah. They're everywhere. So I confirmed that was going on. You got stupid people wherever you go. I had a principal when I was 5 years old, and I was in the school you were in behind the Rebecca, connected to the cafeteria.
Is that Principal Carter?
No, David Dye.
David Dye.
This man grabbed me by my throat. All I remember is looking down and seeing my feet, how far they were off the ground. And it scared me, but it didn't. I was a bad kid and I stayed in trouble. So it was one of them things like, man, I hope he don't tell my dad that he had to do that to me. But as I got older, I realized, man, don't you know my daddy would have cut your head off? If you better be glad I didn't tell him. I was so young, my dad would have ripped that man's face. I know what I would do now if somebody done that to my kid. Yeah. He grabbed me by the throat and pinned me up against the wall. 6 years old now, but you got to understand, there is no hotline. There is no welfare.
Right.
I promise you, if anybody that went there sees this, all in the comments, all you're going to see is I've never seen anybody get whooped more than that dude right there. I'm telling you. Hey,
I got my share. I got my share of licks too.
My dad used to walk in there and say, I need everybody's attention. He'd get everybody's attention. Say, Josh here thinks it's funny. He'd put it on me. Woo! Changed my life.
You get that paddle with the holes in it?
Man, dude, my dad could have played for the Atlanta Braves when he was grandson.
Yeah.
People were scared to get in trouble. People were scared to tell on me. It was like that because there was no repercussions to anything. I mean, my dad was doing what he was doing, and I was burning houses down. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't remember Di, but I do remember Principal Carter.
Yeah.
And I remember some of the school teachers that I had, Mrs. Davidson, Mrs. Stagel,
Mm-hmm.
Brother
Miss
Martin,
Miss Yoder. I know you
Miss
know.
Yoder. Yes, I do remember Miss Yoder.
She lived there her entire life. Never married, never dated, prayed, I don't know, 10 hours a day, made the same little foot. I put a dead snake on the concrete one time where I knew she was going to be walking. It scared her. She fell. My dad almost killed me.
Oh,
It scared her so bad, and she fell. I was a kid pulling a prank. I didn't know.
right.
But that was one of the worst ones I took. Hey, never scared anybody again the rest of my life. Thank you, Dad. Thank you. He done the right thing. Hey,
Yeah.
never scared anybody the rest of my life.
I tell you, sometimes, and that's I think one of the problems with some of these kids now.
They
Some
need a
kids just need a good ass whooping.
That's it. I don't. My dad never whooped me for fun
No,
ever,
no.
and that's why I love him, and he's still my hero because I done something every time. Now he was harder punishment than anybody on the planet. I
Yeah,
laughed at it. When we got older, it was a game. Me and my brother played a game with teachers. You can't hurt us. You can't do anything to us because we got Dad, and he can't hurt us no more.
right.
So you can. And that stuck with me through my entire life. It was hard. I was with a woman 16 years, 3 kids, never married, never crossed my mind a loving thing. It just the lawlessness, the violence. So there was a horrible side to the farm, but I'm
Sure.
telling you, a lot of those people that were there, like I'm saying, bringing on Miss Yoder, they gave their life. My dad could have been an engineer at Plant Bowen in Georgia, Georgia Power, Cartersville, Georgia, biggest. He was a hometown hero there. Could have been rich, had land, house, sold every bit of it, gave it away. My mom hated him for it. Serving the Lord, drug his family around. I got beat, strangled, choked, lost, died, hogs, all kinds, drowned, bunkers, fires. I'm still here. I believe he got some blessings out of it. A lot of that's real, man.
Yeah.
It really is.
Had to wear the blue shirt with the tie with American flags on it.
Hey, nobody I know can tie a tie.
Oh, I
like,
can. I can tie a tie.
I tie them for everybody. I'm like,
Yeah.
can you not know how to tie a tie?
Lot of the kids had the clip-on ties.
Dude, I made fun of those kids. Yeah. I got kicked out of I don't know how many houses for telling my friends, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Santa Claus, you're an idiot. Are you being funny or serious?
Yeah.
And they would say, you can't come around our kids no more. Your kids told our kids there's no Santa Claus. Like, dude, I didn't even know the difference between boys and girls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Until way later on, which affected me a different way also.
Yeah.
Got in a lot of trouble later on in life because of women. Loved women more than anything on this planet. More than drugs out. It don't matter. Money, hated all. Didn't care about none of that. Just loved women. It really affected me watching how families operated there. A lot of those people were giving their life to work there, and it was affecting their home. They gave their family up to work there.
Yeah, but they had a lot of people. A lot of people had secrets.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh man.
Dude, people that don't live on the farm got sick. My next door neighbor here in Arkansas. I mean, dude, major secrets.
Oh yeah.
Everybody. But yes, you're right. They did. And, you know, I can go on to anything. You've got public shaming. I mean, do you remember? I mean, there's all kind of things that went on. There was some crazy kooks down there, man.
Oh, yeah.
He was. That's what I was saying. I'm here to point out the good side of it. I'm agreeing with everything else, man. There was some bad stuff. Like I say, I know some kids got molested. I know there's a bunch of homosexual and lesbian stuff, and I know all kind of crazy stuff was going on. Drugs were being grown and cooked. There was people that would come through the program, you know, and they would actually get off probation through the program. Well, they could stay close to the farm. They knew they had all them acres to do whatever they wanted. Dude, I was a kid. I used to walk up on them and hide. They didn't even know. I was a ninja at 10 years old. They didn't even know I was watching. I'd probably been in a turkey house or a chicken barn 3 or 4 hours looking for rattlesnakes. One time, I'm going to tell you a story, and I'm through, and I'll start answering any question you got.
Okay.
I was about 7 years old, 8 years old, and I went looking for rattlesnakes because I heard a preacher talking about rattlesnake roundup.
Yes.
You know? And I said, well, we're in Texas. I'm going to find one, and I'm going to kill him, and my daddy will be proud of me. And would you believe I walked for miles and miles through them empty forests where the trees are about head high, and I found a board laying on the ground out there. And I got down on my knees and put my face by it. I was too dumb. I didn't know what I was doing. I lifted that board with my face right at the end of it. Man. And when I did, man, when I tell you it's the biggest rattlesnake I've ever seen come up, his head was stuck to that board when I lifted up. Now, why that snake didn't kill me right there, then and there, I was at least 1.5 miles from anything, and I'm about 8, 9 years old. I'd have been dead probably 10 steps from that board as big as this snake was.
Sure.
But that's another thing. It was just so many times.
Near misses.
Yeah. Man, people with animals.
Yeah.
Any questions you got for me? And I'll be honest. I promise you.
Well, actually, I've been wanting to ask this to someone who's actually been on the farm. What was your impression of Wiley Cameron?
One of the greatest. Hey, he was human. I'm sure he had whatever. But I do know this. He didn't have to stay. He didn't have to. He could have. Dude, he was the man back in his day. You got to understand, Wiley Cameron. Listen to his name. Wiley Cameron. I mean, and he was a stud and a half, man, I'm telling you. But he got with the Lord. And I'm telling you, he could have went to bigger churches and got paid bukus.
Yeah.
He could make Joe Osteen look like a little laptop kid, iPod boy, or whatever.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He stayed there and he served God till he couldn't no more.
And his wife.
My dad was good friends with him.
And his wife was running the Rebecca home.
She was a fireball. Many stories about her, good, bad. I don't know.
Mostly bad.
So I've heard.
Yeah.
I can say this: they didn't have to stay.
Yeah.
They stayed. They gave it their all. And like I say, here's another thing. I can't say whether yes or no, because nothing was done to me, and I know the sacrifice they made to stay there. Like, why would you do that? It was falling apart. Everybody knew it was crumbling. I didn't. I was a kid. But, man, they rode that thing to the ground. They really did. I watched Wiley Cameron ride that bike. You know those people, they really didn't drive cars. They were almost Amish.
Yeah.
But it's exactly what this world needs. That's what they were. You see what's going on now. They're like, hey, get an electric bike. We want real cow milk. We got to stop the smoke. They're all freaking out. We got to cut the cars down. Wiley Cameron and Lester Roloff was doing that in the 60s. I got a tape sermon with Lester in here saying, y'all going to stop idling these cars on the farm. Air conditioner had come out, and people were leaving the cars running because the air conditioner was on. He threw a fit. You ain't leaving these cars running. You wasting God's money, gas. You tearing up the ozone layer, putting all them fumes in there. He was on a hippie clean trip way back then.
A hippie clean trip, but he hated hippies.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, he didn't hate nobody. That dude hated sin. I'm telling you, if you were sinning, and look, here's how he was able to really mash on people. Because he lived by the Old Testament. All other Christians have a loophole with other Christians with their food.
Yeah.
When's the last time you had bacon? Yeah, you're not a real Christian. You've been eating pork and beef, and you've been slopping down turkey necks and Cokes and Mountain Dews and candy bars, and you're filthy in your temple. You're smoking. See, nobody had nothing on him. They couldn't.
Yeah.
The man lived by the Old Testament law. And the other 99% of his time, he was preaching or had a Bible in his hand talking about God. So how could he be involved with gambling and women if that's what your time consumes?
Well, I had a talk with a lady named Donna who was there at the Rebecca home, and she became one of the staff.
Mm-hmm.
And she had some stories, and
I believe all of them.
Yeah, she said, well, she had one about Lester Roloff as well.
I believe them all. Let me change that right now. And you know what? Hey, it ain't that I believe or disbelieve. I don't know.
Right.
All I speak is what I know.
Sure.
I'll say what I know.
Well, according to her, she met a girl who was the daughter of Lester Roloff from another woman.
Wow. I mean, that's a story. And I will tell you this. I think he adopted a girl. I think something like maybe a girl that went through the home. Something.
No, this girl, from what Donna had said, she came in, she was already a young adult already. So, and she was the biological daughter. So, I don't know. That's what Donna said. I can't confirm it. I can't deny it.
Yeah.
You know.
Possible or impossible. I don't put nothing past nobody. No man.
Sure.
And Lester would have told you that. So would Wiley. I'm nothing. I've done things I can't even tell you because they'll come lock me up. I'm wicked, vile, and putrid, blind, naked, and I'm a worm. They would tell you that. Those guys were not hot shots. That's what I'm telling you.
Did you ever see Lester Roloff's wife?
One time. Dude, it was so weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
It really was. But you got to understand, a lot of people said this man was off. You know, this thing was very political before he died, dude. Like, the Baptist churches were already, you remember when you just started hearing tidbits about Trump and president? That's what was happening in the Baptist community all across America with Lester. Before, I don't know. Did they kill him? Who knows? Do they do stuff like that? Go ask the Kennedys.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't care if you're riding with your wife and your kids in your lap. So could they sink a little Cessna? I mean, but I'm not into things that I don't know.
Right, conspiracy theories.
Yeah. Hey, he could have ran out of gas. He's in a plane, man.
Well, it was
out of gas.
It was raining that night. And there was a storm, so
who knows?
Yep, stuff happens.
There's no reason even, but I do know this. The words were appearing in sermons, and I've listened to all of those tapes, man. I used to dig through this building called the Turkey Barn behind Anchor in the Lighthouse, and it turned into a storing building for all these cassettes. Dude, the man preached 4 times a day.
Oh yeah, family altar program.
His whole life, somebody walked around recording him with, hey, he was on the phone. They said, this is before, you had to go and sit at a phone. Well, he would take a week to sit at a phone and line everything out because he handled everything himself. This guy was in some of the greatest shape mentally and physically. Dude, he went up against the federal court, dude.
Yeah.
By himself. Which a lot of people say, that's what got him. A lot of people say it's not Christian. Jesus never got political. Jesus in the Bible never anything about voting or political or nothing. He was about his father's business. And a lot of people say Lester kind of, and I'm never, that's a man of God. So I don't, but it appeared they were more political than what I feel like a Christian should be. So once again, I don't put nothing past nobody.
Sure.
You could have political things in your head that you're doing stuff for instead of spiritual. I don't know. That's between him and God.
I do remember him getting political. He would tell his audience, who they should vote for and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's the reason you can't say that behind a pulpit no more.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't realize how big Lester Roloff was. Let me put it like this. He's still on the radio more than any other preacher on the planet all over the world. Now it's on computer live streaming all over the world. Every message he's ever preached.
Yep.
Dude, it's thousands of them. I've been listening to them for 30 years now, and I don't ever hear the same one.
Roloff.org. Yes.
That crazy. Well, Evangelistic Enterprise.
Well, the enterprise now is kind of falling apart now, like you said. It's crumbling even more. They've had to sell some property to keep up with the payments.
It's no longer unlicensed.
Yeah.
So it's not what Lester Roloff had going on. You gotta understand, there was teenagers there. This is back, man. I got took out of school at 11 and started working, and nobody said a word. I mean, because I was getting too much trouble.
I never heard of the child labor laws.
Dad told me. Let me tell you what the law was. It was my dad. The farm didn't take me out of school. Right. See what I'm saying? My dad came up and said, hey, he's too much trouble. Whoopings ain't doing no good. Y'all can't control him. It's not for him. Let him work. And that's the best thing that ever happened to me. There's nothing I can't do. Nothing.
There was a few.
Except computers. Those wasn't around.
Well, they were, but not personal computers.
I didn't see them. There wasn't no screens nowhere.
There was one thing that kind of bothered me about, Roloff did have some contradictory stuff. For instance, I'll give an example. He hated TV.
Yes.
TV, he called it the 3 sewer lines.
Yes.
That was his thing. Of course, back then there was only three channels.
Yeah.
And there, from what Donna was telling me, being a staff member there, people at their trailers over there in Trailer Row,
yep,
they had TVs.
I lived there.
Yeah.
Some people did. We didn't.
Yeah.
Some did. Some people snuck them in. Once again, some people were getting drunk. My dad, and I was a kid, so I never understood why certain people on the farm I wasn't allowed to be around. Because they were there because everything was free. Yeah. And they were working. They were playing Jesus. And my dad, I'm telling you, was not playing Jesus. I'm telling you,
He was devout. Yeah.
dude, like Lester, my dad substituted beans for beef. My dad, I mean, we hardly ever ate meat at home. I mean, it just very little meat. If we did, it was fish. I mean, vegetables, raw fruits and vegetables, juices. Juicing was big.
Yeah.
Of course, when I left there, I started juicing other ways. It's funny to me that everything that I did there legit, there's an identical way to do it out here that'll get you killed physically.
Yeah.
I just, man, some of the stuff I could go on and on. He did have some, he was human. And, I had even heard, I'll tell you this, I heard, in no way am I bad mouthing, but somebody I really believe after he had died was doing some work in there and said there was a TV in his actual house. Now, that's what I heard from somebody I trust. Now,
Right.
he was dead. That could have came in later by his wife. I don't know. But I did hear some stuff like that too. But as far as people there was people cooking meth out there.
Yeah.
Heroin,
all that kind of stuff.
Man. They were growing weed, selling it, making a lot of money. You had bad apples. And I'm telling you, I know the ones that were legit, and I can start naming them. And I mean, they were Bob Stever. He handled all the cows.
Stevers, yes.
Man, wonderful. You talk about faithful. Their whole family blessed. Just great.
I remember them, the Stevers.
Yeah, there's a lot of good people. There was a great number of Filipinos that ended up coming there, the Pachicas and the Atonques, lifelong friends of mine, some of the greatest people I ever met in my life. Loyal friends, miles apart. Social media's connected us again. We're just unlike other people being raised there under those circumstances. I've seen the hand of God, and I've seen God nowhere to be found. I'm telling you. and I can't prove it.
Right.
But I've seen both sides of that place. I've seen the wicked side. I felt it myself. I know girls that got raped and that worked there. Little girls, but just all kind of stuff. Ruined their life. But I know some that, the Wrights, one of the best teachers I ever had. I forgot their names. He was a retired state trooper. But I remember one time he had been whooping us, and my dad had told him, eventually you're going to have to call me because your whoopings ain't going to do nothing to him. And he called my dad, and after my dad left, he told me and my brother, he said, I'll never call your dad again as long as I live. I'm sorry. Forgive me. He wasn't ready for the real deal.
Right.
But he loved us, and he really cared. It hurt him. He knew that was out of control. See, I'm telling you the bad parts of things that went on from my own family. He was out of hand. But man, my dad was there for the right reason. But he had all kind of problems, especially on raising kids and punishment and love and family. Major issues.
Okay.
A lot of people on that place.
Two things I want to finish off the thing about the TV, and then I got a question for you.
Okay.
Like I said, Roloff hated the TV, but yet I think right after he died, they had public access TV in Corpus where I was living, and in the public access channel, here's Wiley Cameron on the TV. They got TV cameras in the church now. It's like if Lester Roloff was alive.
Well, I mean, that was a common thing. People always said, hey, he would roll over in his grave if he walked out on this farm now.
Yeah.
And that's true because he wasn't there.
Yeah.
My brother's got a business, okay? He's thriving, balling, banking, whatever. if something happens to him, I'm telling you, I know who all's around, and it's going down. It may take a couple years,
Yeah.
but it's going down. And that's what I was telling you about Wiley Cameron. He knew the ship was sinking, but he stayed, man. My dad tried. My dad tried to stay, but he seen us boys, what was happening to us, and he didn't want us. He was very wise, man. My dad was. He got us out of there at the right time to venture out on our own, to learn how everything works. And I'm just blessed. I loved like I said, man, I would give anything to raise my kids somewhere like that. I mean, for physical purposes alone, for the health. I mean, my kids their teeth are gone. We all have mental slips here and there. Like, I got serious problems within my kids and my own that needs attention, and I'm working on these things. And I believe it's from chicken nuggets and Mountain Dews. And dude, the bodies are so unhealthy today.
Yeah.
They're just so unhealthy. I mean, look at the political side of it. The healthcare program is shot. The public school system is no different than a public restroom.
Yeah.
Literally. It's bad. It's that bad. I cannot believe people send their kids to a public school anywhere on the face of this country. I can't believe it.
Well, some come out okay. I went to the public school after I left Roloff.
No, I didn't say they came out okay.
Well, I know.
Of
I know.
course. I'm just saying the level of what's going on now with social media.
Oh, yeah.
They're completely programmed. Completely. Nobody knows how to do anything anymore. Nobody. It's so sad. And I learned things that you just can't even. I don't feel like I'm like anybody else. I really don't. From the severity of being in that, from those tender years to those teenage years right before puberty, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then just getting snatched out of it and thrown into society. Man, just seeing the difference in people. You understand, I didn't know the difference between Nike and Reebok, I didn't know nothing.
Right.
I know there was Walmart clothes and Hollister. Everybody wore blue shirts and blue pants with a tie.
Yep.
You wore the same thing. Never crossed my mind, what kind of pants are those?
Yeah.
That just never crossed my mind.
I got another question for you. I'm sure you've probably seen the podcast on YouTube, the Hammer podcast. There's a lot of schools out there now that are trying to emulate a lot of Lester Roloff's teachings.
Yeah, well, they're going back to the basics, which are the Bible. And that's happening a lot. You see a lot of people talking about Jesus now, man. Have you noticed the spiritual movement here lately? Like, or is it just me?
It seems like it's become more about the money.
Yeah.
Than Jesus.
It seems like it's fake, and it's nothing, but it seems like you're hearing Jesus more. I don't know how to explain it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For a while, like in the 80s, you didn't hear about Jesus. It was cocaine and prostitutes. Nobody's talking about Jesus in the 80s or 90s. But all of a sudden in 2021, I'm seeing all kind of Jesus on social media and, just a bunch. I feel like I'm seeing it more. Maybe I'm following something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you got places like Agape Boarding School.
Yeah.
Where they actually used to have a Roloff dorm, basically, named after Lester Roloff.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys are abusing kids mentally, physically, sexually.
Yeah.
All in the name of religion.
I wasn't there.
I know, but what I'm saying is they're taking Lester Roloff's name, basically, and his teachings, and just dragging him through the mud.
That's what David Koresh did.
Sure.
I mean, he was a few miles from us. All he did was take Lester Roloff's farm and duplicate it to his own way. And you see what happened to him because he was playing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I knew David Koresh's daughter. People don't realize there was so many of these cults in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
There was thousands of different cults. You know what I mean? Like, there was gun farms where these people was just like our farm, but they would take people in and teach them militia.
Yeah.
They would clean them up and teach them how to be a soldier because there were militias all in Texas. They were doing it at the farm. My dad wasn't involved with it, but there was people that had a militia form. Certain people that lived there on the farm and worked there, they had a full-blown militia. Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
You do it now, you're going to get some stuff you don't want coming your way.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, that was prophetic. That end was coming to that farm biblically because they were going against the grain so hard and America was changing. Prophecy was unfolding in America. Lester Roloff was trying to fight it. But he was the last of the Mohicans, man. That's why all the Baptist churches got behind him. And they started pushing him like he's Messiah type stuff that he wasn't even in for. So they start pushing him politically. And just like any man, you're talking about a human. What if every Baptist church in America got behind you and was like, your podcast is going to save us, man. You got to do something. I mean, seriously. Seriously.
You know.
And that's kind of what was happening with his preaching.
Sure.
They started the whole spiritual thing. And here's how you know, like, the man stayed within the Bible. Like, he wouldn't get outside of it. That's why there's never no dirt on him or Wiley Cameron. Any recording you pull up, and you'll have to chop it up and move words to make something sound. Anything they say, you're going to find in the Bible.
Well,
because if it's not in the Bible, they're ahead. They're like, nobody's catching me on this. They're not going to be able to say it because I'm going to stick right here, and that's the only way it works.
When it comes to
way.
Yeah. Well,
I don't live it. I wish I could. Then I would just be slapping people around because I'd be like, you know what I'm saying? I'm Christ-like. I'm a real Christian. I'm not playing around. Get away from me with that vileness, putrid. I'm loving life and eating right and beast mode at 80. That guy didn't have time to play with people who wasn't living like that. That's what I'm telling you. If you were smoking cigarettes and eating Whataburger, he didn't want to talk to you. He's like, hey, put all that down, then let's talk.
Oh, you just said the magic word. Whataburger. Man, I miss that place so much.
Me too. Hey, let me ask you a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Your faith. Did you ever receive Christ or get saved while on the farm or make a profession?
I may have. I can't remember. If I did, it probably wasn't genuine. It was just basically to please my parents.
Yeah.
Or, to please teachers. You know what I mean?
Totally. A lot of kids done that.
Oh, sure. Sure. There were a lot of kids out there that you'd see them go up to the altar and they're praying. Yeah. And then as soon as they get out of there, they're cussing like a sailor.
It's emotional. I can't tell you this, though. At the end of the road for me, there's some things you don't know about me. I've been at the end of the road before. And I chose to try what those guys that I know, and I'm not talking about the child molesters and the teachers that choke me out. I'm talking about the ones that really lived it. I tried that, and it changed my life. And I'm happy like they were. So also another reason, let me get back on that before you get away from that, the acceptance of Christ thing. Another reason it wasn't genuine for a lot of kids is because they didn't have time to understand the love of Christ. There was so much punishment, and it was a strict, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And it took me to the time I had done the same thing as you. But when I redone it at like 34 years old, something happened, man. It was different. Something happened. And I took a chance, because I can't even tell you on here what I had going on physically, and just, I can't tell you the level of party I used to. Man, I hit the end of the road. And I did. I done what I was taught to do there as a child. I tried it. I didn't have nothing else to try. I'm telling you, I was at the end of the road. And I tried it. And, dude, I know what them dudes, what happened to them. That's what happened. And unlike me, they started really living it, so that burden came to help people. And even though people were getting hurt, they were willing to do all that. Families, everything, to help one or two people if they could help one. And I'm telling you, it was like that for the real ones. Now, dude, there was people down there, I'm telling you, there were some of the most disgusting maggots on the face of this earth. And they held positions there. And they would be in front of the church. And, dude, I'm telling you.
It was a show.
They were bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, a lot of girls that went to these homes, like Rebecca, Bethesda, Jubilee, all these, are wondering, because you hear people like you say, hey, Lester Roloff was a good guy. He was a human, whatever. But what they ask me, or what they ask themselves or other people, is, if Lester Roloff knew some of the stuff that was going on in these homes, why didn't he stop it?
Well, I can't say this. If you look at that man's schedule for 1967, when there was no cell phones or there was not even really good transportation then, airline wise, like it is today. Like, it was very hard to preach in every state of America, and I'm telling you, when that man showed up at that farm to preach, it was literally like the president of the United States. I mean, he had so much going on, so many people, moving parts. One man, that's no different than the president. That's the reason I don't vote. I refuse to vote. I sold my vote. I literally put it up for sale on Swap Shop on Facebook. Highest bidder. I think I sold it for like $50. This liberal, I wanted to make a difference. I was like, that's fine. Get whatever, you're one the highest bidder. Yeah. And I'm not saying liberals wrong or Democrat. I'm just telling you who paid the money to get something done, and it was the liberal guy. The guys that were voting for Trump, they didn't really care enough to spend their money to get another vote for him. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The bad guys are working so hard, they're double timing the people. You know what I mean? You got the Christians that are all on Trump. Hey, Trump, we love. And they don't even, you know what I'm saying? You're talking about regular man here. There's no God nowhere there's no Christ. What are you talking about? How could you be political and condemn one side or the other if you're a Christian when Christ was never political? You cannot be political and be a Christian.
Right.
You can't.
Well, it seems like sometimes a lot of people put him up on the pedestal of
Naturally.
Messiah.
Hey, look at Trump.
Yeah.
Trump gets caught talking about grabbing girls by the you-know-what. And the Baptist church still thinks he's a Messiah. Dude, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he hasn't done anything for the Lord as far as giving his life and working to help people for the Lord, as far as the Bible says about going and fishers of men. I mean, he kept the command. That's why I was telling you, it's hard to catch a man when he's living by the Bible. When he's living by faith, first of all, that means you don't have no job. So there's nobody with any pressure on your financial state.
Yeah.
Do you realize the freedom that gives you right off the bat and the power? Because okay, well, this man preached that, believed that. Then he also believed when you give, God owns all the money. And I'm just telling you, I heard stories of them packing that plane down with suitcases full of cash. Millions of dollars. Millions.
Oh, yeah.
Just millions. Every old lady that listened to the radio sending that 10, 20, 30 in every week. Millions of dollars, man. Yeah. Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, the big stories you'll never hear about because it's the people that stole all the money. I'm telling you, the rest is bullcrap. It's like, well, so he got caught with a cow out there. Useless stories when you got the real culprits that stole $2-3 million cash. From the Lord. I don't know where they're at or what happened to them. That'd be a good thing to kind of look them up, see what happened to them. Like, man, wow.
I still remember their theme song to this day.
Living by faith.
Living by faith. Yes, that was.
What about that? Christ is the answer.
Yes.
Yep.
Wasn't
that impressive?
The altar that said "And do in remembrance of me." I remember that.
Yeah. What is a good memory you have there? And I'll tell you mine.
The come and dine.
Okay.
The lima beans.
Yeah, they were farm grown.
That was the best. I always waited for Wednesdays to get that big old bowl of lima beans, man. Oh.
Do you know he tilled the ground according to the Bible? He would let certain plots rest for 2 years, like the Bible says, which they don't do no more. That's why our soil is trash. There's no life in it no more.
Yeah.
Our soil is trashed because they don't even grow food no more. They grow feed for cows.
Basically.
For the beef. It's pitiful. It's pitiful. The dude had heaven on earth, and people were trying to shut it down. It worked. I grew up there, and I never left. And my dad never had a job, but he worked nonstop on the farm. My mom ran a store. It worked. And to this day, I never depend on a job. I never depend on money, ever. And I'm more wealthier now and rich than I've ever been. And I have more stuff. And I literally don't, I don't care about nothing. It's weird how this world benefits me still. I use my faith and my religion to do better, to dominate. I'm serious.
Some people would agree, some people would not. So, but hey, it's all up to it's everybody's opinion.
I feel like that's why any type of religion is controlled by wealth and powerful people.
Sure.
Because they're like, hey, this is what happens. You get powerful when you deal with certain things. And I'm talking about the science part. Okay, no God, no Satan. When you fast for a week, your mind, I'm telling you, I've ate more mushrooms than people's ever seen off that farm with
Okay.
cows. Your mind will never, ever be sharp like it will be on a physical fast, a vegan, man, water and lemons. Have you ever read the book he had, Food, Fasting, and Faith?
No.
Wow. Mind, Body, or Soul. Have you read any of those books he wrote?
No.
They're little bitty thin books because he was against books. He was against magazines, everything. Hey, anything cool, he was against it. I'm
Yes,
serious.
that's true.
I'm
That's
serious.
true.
If it was cool, he was against it. I don't mind that. I feel like my kids would be a lot safer if it was like it was on the farm. I feel like phones and social media and what's here today, it's beyond what anybody knows how damaged and messed up the human generation and their minds are nowadays, including myself. I'm a prime example. I mean, look at me. I've been through it all. Big mistakes, small mistakes, many, just crazy stuff. But I do know this, man. There was a lot of bad that went on down there. And that's why I told you, man, you got to hear the good side. There is a good side to that place. And you're right. To the people that went through the bad side, I'm sure it outweighs all the good. And that's the damaging part. That's the real bad part about the whole thing. Is that there's stuff that can push all the good out the window. If you took the religious part completely off of that place, it was futuristic. By the way, what they was doing to drug addicts. My friend, I've watched all my buddies go all the way down the line of drugs, getting help through the state to the Suboxone. Okay? They're jelly beans now. They're toast. They're on Suboxone. They call it making it here. Yeah. They said, well, he finally made it. He's on Suboxone. He ain't going nowhere now. he made it. I'm serious.
Yeah.
It's that bad. And that Suboxone is the new solution. Dude, I watched them clean people up that were deathbed 15 days. I watched women come in, skin and bones been hooking. I mean, they've been working. Somebody been working them. You know what I'm talking about. I used to be in on all that. I know all of it. And they would nurse them women. I'm talking about them women would put on 150 pounds in 30 days of that pure milk. They're making butter out of the cream. Miss Bowman was making loaf bread that you could throw through a sheetrock wall. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Do you remember the brown bread? The lady that made the bread behind the country store.
I remember there was a bakery there.
She made the no-bake cookies and the brown bread, the loaf bread. Incredible. She was German. They brought her over from World War II. Some Jews brought her over, hiding her. She was Jewish, raised in Poland. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about real hide her out over here in America through the Baptist churches. There is some serious stuff going on out there, man. Big time that I don't even know about.
All right, Josh. Thanks for coming on, man. I feel like we could go on for hours.
Get that salvation thing took care of. Get that took care of. You'll feel better. You'll do better. Your podcast will blow up. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Everything changed for me and my brother. And my brother done it about a year before me. We both went out and got crazy. Way out there. And we live in the same town, and he went back to that and rededicated. He had been saved before. I feel like I wasn't. I was like you. Everybody was doing it, so I did it. But later on in life, man, I've done it again. I put some thought into it. I just took a chance. Greatest thing ever happened to me. Get that took care of. Or you're gonna fry. If you believe it. If you don't believe it and it's not true, nobody's lost anything. I'll meet you. We'll be dogs later on. I want to be a python. If that's true, I want to be a python, the biggest one in the world. But if I'm right, there's some bad stuff fixing to happen. And it's not worth risking if all you got to do is say, you know what I mean, and mean it in your heart. If that's all you got to do, it's worth a try.
Well, if that's the case, then I'll be the Chihuahua.
Yeah. Hey.
Yep.
Get a hold of me, man. Thank you for letting me say my part. That place means the world to me. My dad loved it, and I want to tell the good side of it.
That's what this podcast is here for the good and the bad. So
you're the man.
All right, Thank Josh. You take it easy, all right?
God bless.
I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank Joshua for being on and telling us about his time there at the Roloff homes, or the Roloff Farm. So, for the Hammer Podcast, I'm Jason. You take care of yourself, you take care of each other, and we will see you in the next podcast, all right? Oh, and just to let everybody know, if you want to come on the podcast, go to the YouTube channel. On the top, there's a link. You click on that. I'm doing podcasts now on Mondays or Wednesdays, once a week for an hour. If we go over a little bit, if we go over an hour, a couple of minutes or whatever, that's completely fine. But Monday or Wednesday, if you click on that link, it shows you the dates that are available. Then you send me a message. It's on the right side. You send me a message, and we'll get you into the schedule. Okay? So like I said, for the Hammer Podcast, I'm Jason. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We'll see you in the next podcast.